Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead and our first week pantry challenge check-in. Let me know in the comments down below, how has your first week of the pantry challenge gone? This week has been pretty good for me. I have learned a couple of things that really do help me to make it a little more successful. Number one, I have to be prepared and be thinking ahead. When I get caught in trouble is when I have not been thinking ahead and I'm just kind of reacting, and then I feel short on time and it's harder to come up with a healthy meal and stay eating from the pantry. So really thinking ahead has been helpful for me. Today I wanted to share with you one of the recipes that I am making this weekend in order to help set me up for the week to come. I know that being a little bit more prepared and having my protein ready to go and on hand is going to help me to be able to continue eating out of my pantry during this upcoming week. I have a really busy week at work, and so I know I'm going to be late a few nights and it's just going to be a lot more, and so I definitely need to be a little bit proactive and be prepared. Now, I am trying to prep a few other items as well, but I figured I would share with you one recipe today, just so that you can kind of have an idea of how you might be able to use some of your freezer and pantry items for the pantry challenge. Today's recipe is not really a recipe, I guess. It's just something that I've kind of done before, and it's a great way to cook up your chuck roast. I had a chuck roast in the freezer, and so I took that out last night, and then this morning I went ahead and got that started in the crock pot with just a few ingredients, and then I can use this protein throughout the week for tacos, tostadas, taco salad. You could cut it up and put it in scrambled eggs. If you have a lot left over, then you can put the cooked meat in the freezer. That'll give you another option for a quick and easy meal to pull out later. This is going to really set me up to have the protein that I need to go ahead and get started throughout the course of the week. So let me share with you today's recipe. Now, no, I am not a food YouTube channel. I don't typically film my food, so we're doing the best we can here, but I hope you get the essence of what I'm doing today. Alright, so we're going to keep this super simple here. I went ahead and put in the chuck roast. Now, this was taken out of the freezer last night. I put it into the fridge, let it defrost overnight. It's still very much frozen, but I'm not too worried about it. It'll be in the crock pot, slow cooking, pretty much all day. And then we just have a few other ingredients. We're going to use a little bit of chili powder, cumin, a jar of salsa, and 1 diced onion. I'm going to start out with just a sprinkle of chili powder and cumin over the top. So precisely measured, not really. I'm just sprinkling until it looks good. I love things a little bit spicy, so I don't mind if there's a little extra. You can put as much or as little as you like. Same thing with the cumin. Now that I have that over the top, I am going to add my onion. Dump the jar of salsa. And that is all we're gonna do here. So if you have a lot of time and you don't mind, you can go ahead and let this simmer, cook on low in the crock pot all day. If you're a little bit shorter on time, or if it's still a little more frozen than you'd like it to be, you could start it off on high for an hour or two and then turn it down on low. Our goal here is to get meat that's really shreddable. We'll check in a little while. We are about 2 hours into the cooking process here, and as you can see, we have some extra liquid showing up around the edges. Part of that is because, like I said, this meat was previously frozen, so I didn't add any extra liquid when I started it this morning. And it's just starting to cook down, and is smelling fantastic. We are going to harvest some leaves off of the lettuce that's in the house for today's tacos. This is the beauty of leaf lettuce. We've got a nice little collection here for today's tacos, and it's still growing away. You can harvest just a few leaves at a time and have some fresh food, even when it's winter time and there's not much growing in the garden. We're gonna go ahead and make some tortillas. I'm using this recipe from the More with Less cookbook. I have 3/4 cup of flour. I'm gonna put in 1/4 cup of cornmeal. This cornmeal was some that was ground from corn we raised last year in the garden. So we took the dried corn and then just ran that through the mill, and now we have usable cornmeal. I don't use much salt, so I'm just gonna do a quick sprinkle. We aren't even going to measure that just because I don't use a lot. I did cut this recipe in half because I didn't need all of the tortillas that it was going to make. We're going to put in about 1/8 of a cup of shortening. I'm going to use a pastry cutter to go ahead and mix that shortening with the flour and cornmeal. Now that we've mixed that in nicely, it's pretty fine. You can see that cut in really well. We're gonna use 1/4 cup of warm water. I like to mix this in with a fork because it's a little easier to kind of work that around. And I'm not going to put all the water in at once. You wanna add it until it's about the right consistency. Sometimes it takes a little more, sometimes it takes a little less. Kind of just depends on the day. Sometimes I've added all the water before and then it just makes it too runny. It's not the dough that you want. And then we'll go ahead and knead that, see if it's gonna hold together pretty well. All right, so this makes 4 tortillas. You are supposed to put it in the refrigerator first. I'm going to bypass that step today. I'm gonna go ahead and section it off. We'll put a little flour here on the board so it doesn't stick. Once you have it rolled out to your desired thickness, you're just going to place that in a hot frying pan or a hot flat pan and let it cook for a couple minutes on both sides. This meat is looking fantastic. You can see here that it has definitely fallen off of the bone. That's going to be very easy to remove. And then we have meat that's left that's very shreddable. It's just going to take a little bit of work with the fork, and you can shred off however much you want for tacos. If that is not necessarily the best option for you and you're trying to go a little more low carb, you can always put it on a bed of lettuce and doctor it up just like you would regular tacos and make more of a taco salad out of it. Very versatile. Or as I said before, just serve it on the side of something else and you can eat it that way as well. Our tortillas cooked up nicely, and now I'm just gonna take some of that shredded meat and put in the middle for tacos. We're going to go ahead and top that with a little bit of shredded cheese and some lettuce. We will follow up with a dollop of sour cream. And of course, finish her off with a little more salsa. And there we have 2 fantastic tacos that I will be eating for dinner tonight. I also made some blueberry muffins this week just so that I have an easy grab and go breakfast throughout the course of the week. This really helps me to stay on track and just eat things from the pantry. I hope you enjoyed seeing a couple of the things that I have been making during the pantry challenge. The two big takeaways that I really want to leave you with is, number one, cooking doesn't have to be complicated. Try and find ways to simplify things and yet still have a bunch of flavor. And the second thing that I want to leave you with is that sometimes it really helps if you can do a little bit of preparation and can really plan ahead, do some meal prepping on the weekend or whenever's a good time for you to kind of help you get through the week. What I have found for myself is that I'm more successful and I'm able to eat the food that I have on hand if I take some time to prepare and do a little bit of meal planning and prep work ahead of time so that I've got that later in the week when things get really busy and I don't feel like I have as much time to cook. So I hope today was inspiring to you. If it was, don't forget to click like and subscribe, and don't forget to share down below in the comments what are some things that you are doing to help yourself be successful throughout this pantry challenge. And if you have some challenges, let us know that as well, and maybe we can kind of help problem solve and come up with some creative ideas to help you work through that situation. Until next time, bye everyone.